Most folks think you need a big garden and a tropical climate to grow ginger. Well, you don't, not at all. One knob from the grocery store, a deep pot, and a sunny corner will hand you more ginger than you know what to do with. I'm Helen Green, and I've grown ginger in containers right here on my patio for more years than I can count. If you'd like to grow more from less, right in your own backyard, subscribe. That's exactly what I share here. So let me show you how. Now, before we go a single step further, I want to set your mind at ease, for I know the very thought that is sitting in the back of it. You are thinking that ginger is a hot country plant, a thing that wants jungle heat, and a wet wind, and a patch of ground you have not got. And it is true, I'll grant you that much, that ginger came up out of the warm places of the world, out of the old kitchens of the East, where it was grown and traded and prized long before it ever crossed a single ocean. But hear me plain, and I will give you one honest word. The ginger root does not know whether it sits in the wide open ground or in a humble pot on a porch. It cannot tell the difference. A root is a root, and warmth is warmth, and a plant that is fed and watered and kept back from the cold will grow for you the same in a pail by your door as ever it would in a field far away. I have grown it both ways, in the ground and in the pot, and I'll tell you a thing that may surprise you. The pot does just as well, and there are days I believe the pot does better for. In a pot, you are the weather. You are the sun, and the rain, and the frost that never comes. You carry it in when the nights turn mean. You set it out when the days turn kind, and it never once feels the hard edge of a season the way a poor plant rooted in the open must feel it. That is the quiet gift of a container. It puts the seasons in your own two hands. So let us begin where every crop of ginger must begin, and that is with the knob itself. You do not need a seed packet. You do not need a catalogue, nor a nursery, nor a fancy order sent off in the mail and waited on for weeks. You need only walk into the grocery store, over to the very bin where the ginger sits for cooking, and there is your seed, cheap as dirt, waiting the whole time. Most folks walk right on past it and never once dream that the thing they'd grate into their supper is the very same thing that would grow them a whole year's worth more. But you pick a piece up in your hand and you turn it over and you look for a knob that is plump and firm and heavy, not soft, not shriveled, not gone dry and light as a cork, and you look close for the little eyes. Those are the growth points, the small nubs at the tips of the fingers, and if you can find a knob where those eyes have gone a touch green or begun to swell up proud, well now, that one is halfway awake already, and that is the one you carry home. If you can lay hold of a piece that was grown without the sprout-stopping treatment they sometimes give it, the organic bin is your surest bet there, then so much the better. For some of the store ginger is treated to keep it from waking in the drawer, and that treated root will fight you the whole way. But most of it will grow. I have planted plain grocery ginger many and many a time, and had it come up faithful, season after season, without any fuss at all. So do not let a soul tell you that you must send off for some special seed root at a fancy price. The humble bin at the market, the very one you have wheeled your cart past 1,000 times and never given a second look, holds everything you need to begin. And that, I have come to believe, is the way of near all the best and oldest growing there is, if a body will only slow down long enough to see it. The whole secret was sitting in plain sight the entire while, cheap as could be, waiting on you to notice. Just a quick word before we go on. The old garden methods I was raised on, there is more of it than one video could ever fit. I wrote all of it down, the whole of it, in a book. The link is pinned in the comments below. The book is the long version. If you want it, it is there. I won't bring it up again. Back to the ginger and to the waking of it. Before that knob ever touches a spoonful of soil, you'll do well to wake it up gentle. And there is an old, easy way to do it. You take your piece and you set it in a bowl of lukewarm water and you let it soak there overnight, a full night. No more is needed. That soak washes off whatever was put on it to keep it sleeping, and it tells the root in the only language a root understands, that the wet season has come and it is time to rise. Then you set it somewhere warm and dark for a few days. A kitchen cupboard will do, and you wait for the eyes to swell and green. Now, if your knob is a good big hand of ginger with many fingers, you need not plant the whole of it as one. You may cut it with a clean knife into pieces, and here is the only rule, so mark it well. Every piece must carry at least one good eye, for the eye is where the new green comes from, and a piece with no eye is a piece that will only sit and rot. So cut it so each chunk has an eye or two, a good inch or better of solid root behind it to feed the start. Then, and folks forget this part, to their sorrow you let those cut faces sit out in the open air a day or two, until they dry over and grow a skin. That healed over skin is what keeps the wet soil from turning your cut root soft. Skip it, and you may lose the piece. Heal it, and it goes in strong. Now to the pot, for the pot matters more than folks give it credit. Here is the thing about ginger that most never learn. It does not grow down, deep, and single like a carrot. It grows out, sideways, spreading its knobby hand just under the surface, reaching wide as it fills in. So what ginger wants is not so much a deep, narrow pot as a wide, roomy one broad across the top, with room to run, and a depth of about a foot, which is plenty. A shallow, wide tub, a half barrel, a big low pot, even a sturdy grow bag, any of them will serve, so long as it gives that root room to spread its fingers. Crowd it into a little narrow thing, and you'll harvest a little narrow crop. Give it room, and it gives you plenty. That is the whole bargain. But there is one thing your pot must have, and it must have it without fail, or nothing else you do will matter, and that is drainage. Holes in the bottom, good and open, so the water runs clean through. Ginger loves to drink, it truly does, but it will not stand to sit in a cold, wet puddle down at its feet. Wet feet rot the root, plain and simple, so water may pass through freely and be gone. A pot that holds water like a bucket is a grave for ginger. Holes in the bottom. Say it back to yourself. It is the one thing folks skip, and the one thing that sinks them. Now for what you fill that pot with. And here again, ginger is not fussy, but it does have its likings. It wants a soil that is loose and light and rich and quick to drain, never heavy, never packed hard as a road. I make mine up from a good potting soil, with a fair helping of finished compost worked all the way through, and a handful of something coarse, a bit of sand, or some of that light stuff they sell for lightening soil to keep it open and airy. That compost is the pantry. It is the slow, steady food the root will feed on through the long months of growing, and it costs you next to nothing if you keep a compost heap the way my mother kept hers, and her mother before her. Ginger likes its ground a touch on the sour side, mildly acid, which most good compost-rich soil already is, so you needn't fret over it. Loose, rich, and draining. Get that, and you're most of the way home. Now we plant, and it is about the easiest planting there is. You fill your pot to within a few inches of the top, and you lay your piece of ginger down flat on the soil, not standing up, not buried deep, but laid down on its side, the way it would lie in the ground of its own accord. And you turn it so the eyes, those little green nubs, are pointing up toward the sky, for that is the way the new shoots will travel. Then you cover it over with just an inch, maybe two, of soil, no deeper. This is where folks go wrong. They bury ginger down deep like a potato, and then they stand and wonder why nothing comes up. Ginger is a shallow thing. It rides just under the surface. So cover it light, water it in gentle till the soil is damp all through, and set it where it belongs. And where it belongs is warmth, first and above all, for ginger is a creature of warmth and always will be. It wants a spot that stays warm and cozy, out of the cold wind, up against a wall that soaks the day's heat maybe, on a porch or a patio that catches the good sun. But, and hear me on this, it does not want the hard, blazing, all-day sun beating straight down on it in the heat of summer. In its home country, ginger grows down low under the taller plants, in the dappled shade, catching broken light through the leaves above. So give it bright light, and give it plenty, but a little shelter from the fiercest afternoon glare will suit it better than a bare baking corner. Morning sun and afternoon shade is a fine thing for ginger. Warm feet, bright light, a little shade in the worst of the heat. That is its comfort. Now, water. And with water, ginger asks for a steady, even hand. Through the growing season, when it is up and reaching, ginger wants its soil kept moist like a wrung-out cloth, damp all the way through, but never sodden, never swampy. You water when the top of the soil begins to feel dry to your finger, and you water till it runs clean out the bottom, and then you leave it be till it wants more. In the high heat, that may be near every day. In cooler spells, far less. You learn the weight of the pot and the feel of the soil, and soon you know without thinking. And here is a small kindness the plant will thank you for. Ginger loves a moist air about its leaves, coming as it does from steamy places. So on a hot, dry day, a light misting of the leaves does it a world of good, but down at the root, moist, not drowned. Always come back to that. And should trouble come, do not lose heart, for most of the trouble ginger ever gives is the same trouble, and it wears the same face. If the leaves go yellow and soft too early, before their proper season of dying back, and the soil sits heavy and wet, then you have loved it too much with the watering can, and the root is sulking or beginning to rot. Ease off, let it dry a little, and it will most often right itself. If the tips of the leaves go brown and crispy, and the air is dry and hot, then it is thirsty, and asking you kindly for a little more, and a misting besides. Yellow and wet means too much, brown and dry means too little. Between those two, ginger will forgive you nearly anything, for it is a patient and a hardy old plant, and it wants to grow. Now I will tell you the hardest part of the whole business, and it is not the doing, it is the waiting. Ginger is slow, I will not lie to you and say otherwise. You may wait 2 weeks, or 3, or a good stretch longer, before you ever see that first green spear break the soil. And in all that quiet time, you'll be sure you've killed it. You have not. Down under there, in the dark and the warm, that root is working, putting out its white feeding roots, gathering itself, taking its own good time the way old and patient things do. So you keep the soil warm, you keep it barely moist, and you leave it alone and let it be. And one morning you'll go out, and there it'll be a slim green shoot, pushing up like a blade of grass, and then another, and another, tall and reed-like and handsome. From there it grows all the long season through, a fountain of green, and the growing of the leaves above is the growing of the root below. They rise together. Along the way, that hungry root will want feeding, for it is doing a great deal of work down in the dark. Every few weeks through the growing months, I give mine a gentle feed. A drink of compost tea is my old favourite. You steep a shovel of finished compost in a bucket of water a day or two, and pour off that brown water at the root, for it is mild and free, and feeds the soil as much as the plant. A balanced, natural fertiliser will do the same if you've no compost, but go easy. Ginger is not a greedy feeder, and too much rich food pushes a great flush of leaf and forgets the root. A little, and often, and mild. That is the way to feed it. And here is a trick worth its weight in gold, one my grandmother swore by. As the plant grows, the knobby root will begin to swell and push up, and you'll see it heaving green and pink shoulders up out of the soil, near the surface. When you see that, you top it off, you add another inch or 2 of your good rich soil right over the top, mounding it up gently around the base of the shoots. Hilling, the old folks called it. Every time the root shows itself, you tuck it back under with fresh soil, and every time you do, that buried stretch of stem turns around and makes more root, more soil on top, more ginger below. It is the simplest thing, and folks who never learnt it wonder why their neighbour's pot yields twice what theirs does. Now you know. You hill it. Now the day you've waited for. The harvest. And here you have a choice, for ginger will feed you in 2 seasons of its life. If you cannot wait, and I never can, not fully, you may steal a little young ginger only 3 or 4 months in, once the plant is up and growing strong. You slip your fingers gently down along the edge of the pot, feel for the outer edge of that spreading root, and snap off a finger or two, then tuck the soil back. That young ginger is a tender, thin-skinned, pink-tipped thing, mild and juicy, with no tough skin to peel at all, a delicacy you will never once find in a store, and one of the true quiet joys of growing your own. Take a little and leave the rest to grow on. But if it is a big harvest, you're after the huge harvest, the one that fills your 2 hands and then some, then you must let it grow the long season through 8 months. 10, if your warmth holds, right up until the plant tells you itself that it is done. And it will tell you plain. The leaves will yellow and flag and begin to die back and fall over, and the watering you slow away to almost nothing. That dying back is not death, it is ripeness. It is the plant pouring the last of itself down into the root and lying down to rest. That is your signal, and when you see it, the harvest is ready. So you take your pot and you tip the whole of it out gentle onto a tarp or into a wheelbarrow, and you brush the soil away with your hands. And there it is, the reward for all that patient waiting. A great golden hand of ginger, many times the size of the little knob you set down all those months ago, firm and fragrant and yours. And I will tell you, there is no feeling quite like it to hold up out of a single pot more ginger than a body could buy in a month, grown from one piece that cost you pocket change. That is the whole promise made good, right there in your hands. And it will not have cost you a thing but the price of one small grocery store knob and a sack of soil, with a season's worth of patience laid gently over the top, which is no true cost at all, when you reckon it honest. For the patience came free, and the harvest comes many. Now, do not, I beg you, eat every last bit of it. For here is the oldest wisdom of all, the thing that turns one harvest into harvests without end. Before you carry that ginger to the kitchen, you break off a few of the best, plumpest fingers, the ones with the fattest eyes, and you set them aside. Those go right back into a fresh pot of soil, and they start the whole turning of the year over again. That is how my people did it, and their people before them. You never buy your seed but once, and after that the crop seeds itself, on and on, out of its own increase. One knob, bought a single time, becomes a ginger patch that feeds you the rest of your days. That is thrift of the truest and oldest kind, and it is a thing worth the keeping. As for the ginger you bring in to eat, it keeps a good long while if you treat it right. Whole and unpeeled in the cool of the refrigerator, wrapped loose, it holds for weeks. Peel it and drop it in a jar, cover it over with a little spirits or vinegar, and it keeps longer still. But the surest way of all, the way I lean on most, is the freezer for ginger freezes near perfect. You may freeze the fingers whole in a bag and grate off what you need, still frozen, and it grates like a dream. No peeling, no stringy trouble, or grate it all at once and freeze it flat and snap off a piece whenever a pot on the stove calls for it. Frozen, it will carry you clear through to the next harvest and never leave you wanting. And there is one more old way, older than the freezer by a long stretch, and that is to dry it. You slice your ginger thin as you can make it, and you lay the slices out to dry in a low oven with the door cropped open, or in a drying box, or simply on a screen, in a warm, airy spot, the way it was always done, until they go hard and brittle and snap clean in two. Dried like that, ginger keeps for a year and more on the shelf, asking nothing of you, taking up no room in the cold. You can steep those dry chips into a tea that will warm you to your toes on a raw winter evening, or grind them down to a fine powder in a mill and keep your own ginger spice in a jar, fresher and stronger by far than the tired grey stuff sold in the little tins. One pot on the porch, and you have filled your spice shelf too. That is a household running the way a household ought. And if you live where the winter bites, as I do, you needn't lose your plant to the cold at all. This is the great mercy of the container. Before the first frost so much as threatens, you carry the whole pot indoors to a warm, bright window, and there it rests through the dark of the year, dry and dormant and safe, waiting. And when the warmth comes round again in the spring, you set it back out and start the watering slow, and it wakes and rises like it never slept. A plant in the ground would have died in the first hard freeze. Yours simply came inside and waited by the window. That is the seasons in your own two hands. Just as I told you at the start. Now, let me say one plain thing before I let you go, for it has been on my mind. There was a time near every household grew a little of what it ate, and knew these small old ways as a matter of course, the growing and the keeping and the passing on. It was not a hobby then, it was simply how a thrifty home was run. And somewhere along the way, in the rush of things, we handed all of it, overhanded our growing to far-off fields, and our keeping to the store shelf, and paid good money for what a single cheap pot on the porch would give us free. No one schemed it. It was only the drift of things, and folks forgot. But you needn't stay forgotten to it. A knob of grocery ginger, a wide pot with holes in the bottom, some good rich soil, a warm bright corner, a patient hand, and a little hilling as it grows, and you will pull up a harvest that pays you back 100-fold, year on year, out of its own increase, for as long as you care to keep it going. That is what I wanted to hand you today. So now I'd love to hear from you. Have you grown ginger in a pot before? And how did it come out for you? And tell me, what part of the country are you writing from, so I know the weather you're working against? Write it down below in the comments. I read every one of them. I truly do. And if you'd like to grow another humble thing from a scrap you'd have thrown away, why, I've a video on that waiting right here for you next. Come along and I'll show you.